Really nice. It's early. Hello, Beauty Squad. It's your girl, TeeTee, LaTanya, Kristina. Welcome back to my channel of all things life, love, and beauty. It's a little early in the morning, but I got a few videos that I want to do today, so you got to get up early, you know, and get it in. Plus, it's raining outside today, too. It's been raining actually since yesterday. So it's kind of cold and dreary outside, and just don't want to be out there. So I'd rather be in here with you guys. So with this crazy rainy weather, it has been extremely dry. And as I've said several times on my channel, that my skin is oily. And even my oily skin, as of recently, has been dry. I get oily, or the oil still breaks through for the most part, but my skin has been dry. So I've had to switch up my skincare routine, and more importantly, my makeup, specifically my foundation routine has changed. So I'm going to bring you guys some foundation hacks that I've been using to help with this dry ass weather we've been having here in Los Angeles. It is just crazy. I've never seen it just quite this dry. The air is dry, everything is dry. I've had to use Vaseline all over just because my skin is dry. But, you know, our face gets it, you know, gets majority of that. So before we get into my foundation hacks for dry skin in this dry ass weather, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You're already here, and just hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you know when my videos have been uploaded. So I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that I've used recently to help my foundation stay on longer, last longer, and not make my skin so dry or drier in this dry ass weather. So stay tuned. All right, so let's get, I'm going to say this is probably my top 10 foundation hacks to get through this dry ass weather that I'm sure not only us, but most of us are having. So first and foremost, you definitely want to find the right foundation, because that would be ideal, especially if you're dry this time of year. So my skin is oily, so I've definitely, and this summer was really hot, so I stuck with a matte foundation, which was the Double Wear foundation from Estee Lauder, which I absolutely love. And I'm in the shade Cinnamon 5W1.5. So I pretty much use that by itself, but as of lately, I haven't been using it, you know, too much, you know, by itself. But you definitely want to find the right foundation. And when you do, you definitely want to, you know, as I've said, I'm going to use my Lancome foundation today. Actually, yeah, I'm going to use this today. Is you definitely want to find, you know, the right foundation shade. Get samples. Samples have helped me buy foundation. I got a sample of the NARS Radiant. This is actually what I'm going to use. Foundation, and I'm in the shade Medium Dark 2.3 in Maria. I loved it, and I was like, oh my goodness. Another one I was sleeping on right along with Double Wear, but I had gone through samples. And then there's also a site called Find Nation here, and it will help you. It has all the brands, you know, high-end, drugstore, all that, to help you find the right shade. I know Sephora has, you know, something they put on your face in the store. That could be hit or miss. So, but Find Nation, because you definitely want to have the right shade. Number 2 is you definitely want to have your face prepped. So meaning wash, moisturize, and prime if you have to. So the moisturizer I'm going to use today is my Estee Lauder Day Wear. And I love this. It's got sunscreen in it, and I love it. And it's almost done. I'm actually getting to the bottom of something, which is surprising. But what I've learned to mix with it is I use these Chorus drops. Oh my goodness. You see, I'm almost done with this. I broke the top of it somehow, some way. But I add this, just a couple of drops, a few drops. Rub it in, get it all warm in my hand, and mix it right in with my foundation. Oh my God, I love, because I'm under the belief now of fighting oil with oil. That might be too much oil. Is I went a little overboard with that. But we're just going to go with it. You know, once you get that on, then you kind of want to let it marinate. I'm a huge Martin fan. You'll kind of want to let it kind of sit there for a second. Absorb in the skin. Longest minute ever. All right. And the good thing about this oil, it's from Chorus, and it's a brightening oil. My God, I bought this a while ago, and I started using it the day I bought it, and then I put it down because I went to another oil that I had, and since it's been dry, I picked it up, and I love the way it makes my skin, you know, feel before I use foundation. So, all right, so let's just get to the application. This is brand new. I told you I bought a sample. I went through that sample. I had her give me a couple of samples, and I absolutely love it. So step 3, application, we're gonna say. So I'm gonna shake it up here. Let me get a brush versus a sponge, and I'll get to that. So I'm going to shake it up a bit. And this foundation is not super, if I can get it out. It's got kind of a thick texture. So the thing with that would be is, okay, one at a time. So I'm going to dot it on my face here. Instead of just dipping my brush into it, I'm going to just dot it on my face. Because to me, that feels like I just have better, control. Okay. All right. And I may not have enough. So, number 4, coverage. So, I have like notes because I write down everything. I'm forever a student. And I said, you know, this was a little thick, you know, in texture. If I felt it was too thick, I'd probably add a little bit of a thinner moisturizer that I have. Or if it's too thin, then I'd probably add like a concealer. So, number 4. Now, number 5, sponge or brush. So, my beauty blender is not wet because to me, with the way my skin has been lately, I've been using a brush. And sometimes the beauty blender can thin out your foundation. And so then what do? You feel the need to add more. So I just use a brush. And I think you get more coverage this way. And this is my Sephora Pro Foundation number 47 brush. And then see, I'm just dotting it all over into my skin, trying not to swipe it, you know, too much, but really just kind of, you know, letting it really get into the skin. And then if I see what little breakout there, Jesus Christ, it's always something. This weather is just too darn dry. It's just too darn dry. And sometimes, you know, I'll do this and I'll take what's left as I'm going through, and that's what I'll put on my nose, not to add too much to my nose. I might have I might have added too much. But the coverage on here is actually really nice. I just like now I'll brush it down here because I need it to just kind of blend in with the rest of me. All right. Swipe these outer areas here. I'm like, this foundation, I've been sleeping on this foundation. I really, really have. And what I've done too is I've taken my double wear and I've mixed some radiant, something radiant with it to help with the coverage. So something that'll keep me matte, and then something that will still kind of give me radiance. Something that won't make me look too shiny, you know, by the end of the by the end of the day. And that's probably what I should have done, but I didn't. But this will hold up very, very well. I don't know where I left off. So actually a little goes a long way with that, and I actually think I used too much because I really don't need, you know, that much, you know, coverage. So let's go on to the next one. So that was 5. So 5 was sponge or brush. So again, I tend to gravitate more towards the brush and use little with the brush. I mean, if you're gonna use the sponge, you know, it's gonna thin it out, and again, you're probably gonna put on, you know, more because you feel the need, but you know, it is what it is. Now, when choosing a foundation, if you go radiant versus matte, so obviously double wear is matte. It is an early girl's BFF versus radiant. So if you're dry, most people tend to gravitate more towards radiant, which I completely get and I understand. So which is why I said, and this is number 6, I believe, radiant versus matte. So which is why I said I add a little bit of radiant to my matte. A little though, and a little goes a long way, you know, as you can see. So matte, radiant, or even if you are dry, I mean, you can use a radiant and add a little bit of oil to it, you know, like I did with this. And if you're oily, you know, then I just add a little bit of something radiant, you know, to it. So, and then one thing that I definitely do is, I've lost count of numbers, but definitely less baking, definitely that for sure. So because it's drying, right? And if you do it, use, you know, don't keep it on very long, because I found that when I was baking in this dry weather, it made me look dry, like under my eyes and everywhere. So I had to cut that out almost immediately. And now what I do is I just set, when I use concealer, and use a hydrating concealer, I would recommend, I think there's so many hydrating concealers right now, and I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I can't think of one. Oh, Born This Way, I believe, has coconut water in it, so that's definitely hydrating, something along those lines. As I have it sitting right here, is hydrating. So I would definitely, you know, go with something more along those lines. And then I set it with this C6 powder from MAC, just kind of under my eyes and, you know, in the high points of the face. So, and then what I'll do is I'll take my Laura Mercier product one of my last few steps that I'll do. I'll take this, and again, I'll apply it, you know, with a brush, kind of a flat brush here I got from Morphe. This is an E54, and just kind of press this into my skin. And I'm just putting some in the cap and just taking the extra. And then I just kind of will leave it as that. And really I'm just kind of trying to press it into my skin. Makes all the difference. that type of coverage. And then, you know, I would suggest a setting spray, but not just any setting spray. You need something that doesn't have alcohol in it, because alcohol obviously is very drying. So I tend to go with my Glow recipe here. This is what I go with, and I say it because it has hyaluronic acid in it, which is very good for the skin. It's got watermelon extract, and apple cider vinegar is in here as well too. So I tend to stick with this, and it's a light mist on the face too, which is why I really like this. So, you know, I would say, here, let me just kind of set my face now. And it smells good too. And this will hold up throughout the day. I won't have, you know, any transfer, you know, nothing like that. So I would definitely say, you know, for those that are experiencing dry skin, like a lot of us right now, and your foundation routine, your complexion routine is going to be key to keeping your face less dry. So I would definitely recommend getting a serum, you know, to use on your face, and a moisturizer. Add you know, some oil to it. Like I said, I use the Wild Rose oil from Chorus. You see, it's almost gone. This is how much I use this, especially lately because my skin is dry. And if you want to go still with a matte foundation, add a little bit of something radiant, you know, to it to help kind of keep you radiant looking and not looking so cakey and so dry. A hydrating concealer would be ideal, and definitely a mist, a setting spray that doesn't have alcohol in it, and then a good setting powder would be ideal. So those are just kind of what have been working for me since my skin has been so dry lately in this dry ass weather we're having here in Los Angeles. So let me know what you guys think. What do you do? What is your complexion or foundation routine right now? Because it is just dry beyond words right now. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't forget to comment below. And until next time, your girl TeeTee is out.